Hello, it is me, Zoa, and this is a Pandora's Box episode. You have been warned. Because this is about, this is the Zoic Temple. I'm going to do that as well, but the Pandora's Box part is what comes as a result of it. And it has a lot to do with Looney Tunes. Right, so the Zoic Temple in general is this. Think of take a temple of the past, any temple of the past, what they often see in it. Various artifacts, various hieroglyphics, like Zoa 300. Various, you always get something like a disc, don't you? It's usually a portal, like that, you know. There's always something behind everything up there, whether it actually does something mysterious or not. Like, what there looks out of place, or it looks like it actually does something magic. What there looks like it could actually do something magic. Including, that. The meteorite's called the Star of Heaven. And I'll tell you what everything is. Star of Heaven, Trishulite, the Spear of Destiny, Bladerite, the Eye of the Jat. I'll see it when it's actually something. Two Eyes of Horus, the Skull of Santa Myrte, just so happens to be made so that them beads fit perfectly in. Yes, that actually is something. It's called the Andromeda Sphinx. What it does I can't say because not to no knowledge yet. That's Sun Disk of R10 it was introduced to me as just as a parallel because I was learning about Akhenaten and stuff in the past in what Sun Disk is. But it's actually Sun Disk of Ahura and the Moon Disk of Luna, which is the Ouija board behind it. That doesn't have a name yet, although there's a spirit voice attached to it in that video where you heard sort of the EVP. It sounded a little bit like nice when looking at that disc, but it didn't say nice. It sounds similar to it, but it sounds like a different language. Of course, hieroglyphics there again, because what of them? It could also be our spaceships or clouds. God comes down in a grey cloud. There you go. So yeah, we've even got references like Nephis there. As I said in the previous video, I was Horus in the past life, and Nephis. I need to point out this, the Eclipse Wyvern, that actually represents the Thunderbird spaceship, the star that guided the three Maji, the wise men. It's the same ship. It's also the dragon from, if you think of Shenron from Dragon Ball, for example, that dragon, this dragon. It's also that as well. Kukulkan, Quetzalcoatl from Mayan and Aztec. And there you go again. That dragon. It's the same ship. Same guy in that case. You got to remember Laura's pictured as a dragon. But like a bird. Thunderbird. And the ship sounded like a plane. A jet plane, except they had a bright orange light which you don't see on a jet plane. And then the next day it was proven it was a spaceship, because before I saw it, Ahura Master said, oh, look out the window. So I did, and then I saw it. Like a bright orange light, I wasn't sure if it was a spaceship or not. So I just said, nah, it's probably a plane. But it was doing suspicious things a plane wouldn't normally do. And then the next day I see that frozen on the River Tees. That's just at the Infinity Bridge. There's another shot of it there. From further down, that side there's Stockton Town Centre. That side there's Thornaby. So yeah, that's the crop circle there. So there's always something behind it. It's like Blade Runner, you have a Spear of Destiny, right? But there's a timeline for it, isn't it? So if I pull the sword from a stone, because it's a very big tie-in, it's the same shape, isn't it? The Spear of Destiny, the timeline. For when Jesus was stabbed, cut with it. It's had previous incarnations. It's been spotted a lot of times. Here is the present day Spear of Destiny 2019. Because it is on a crop circle left by Merlin, the Sword in the Stone. It just so happens to just sit in there, move it around, and it's pretty stable in there. It's a 2-scale diagram left on the Karnak stones, Brittany, France. Yeah, just applied Pythagoras theorem on it, and obviously it's that, isn't it? And yep, so and that's put there by guess who? Sword in the Stone, Merlin the Wizard put them there. Tie-in. So there's always something behind it. And now for the Pandora's box bit, because it needed to see all that first. So we'll now go to the Will Leader logo, that time portal, and map of Flat Earth. If you look at them very carefully, I'll get, right, if you look at the shape of the landmass on the Flat Earth map, that's the North Pole in the middle. There, that's the North Pole. That's Antarctica around the edge. And then if you look at the shape of the landmass on the World Leader logo, on Flat Earth, and the shape of this design on my portal, it's one the same. It's a hieroglyphic. The Earth was flat at one point in time, but thanks to a guy called Yoko, I believe he prefers to be called, you might know him as Xeno on the Alien Disclosure forums, actually told me that it did used to be flat at one point, and now it is a sphere. However, I can confirm that it's most definitely a firmament above it. If you think like in Dragon Ball Z Super, remember that tournament and do a dome, you touch it, you're out. It's a firmament, and it's the same thing, yeah. Because it is a fact. Oh, that's the wrong video. That's a video, I didn't mean to go on that. It is a fact that all ancient civilizations did depict the Earth as flat. Right there. In the firmament, that's the firmament there, the dome. It's basically our ozone layer and everything. Think of it like that. So there's a firmament. And but enough about that, now it's the Pandora's box. So back to what I was saying about this. Have you heard of the Mandela effect? If you haven't, Nelson Mandela, there was a report years ago that he was dead, died in prison, but he was elected the president and everything after that. Yeah? Some actually remember it being a fact. Some don't. It said that an alternate verse is currently eclipsing with this verse. I wonder why that could be. Not just my portals, but think of a certain Hadron Collider. And the amount of that guy portals are opening up all the time, making little black holes. You know what I mean? Information gets shifted around, and it ties in with the Rapture as well. Because you've got to remember, that's the physical sixth seal. There's Pleiades, you know, it's the star of heaven. It's physical part of the sixth seal. You've got to watch the other video to get that fully. Right? But yes, because it ties in with the Rapture, because as Hubert always said to me, it's part of the Rapture. It's much more in depth than you think. They go through to the Time Space Continuum, and they actively go across into each other. What if verses? There's a lot of parallel universes of Hermos alone, this universe alone. Yeah? Now, it always explicitly stated that was a fact. And as part of the Rapture, we'd be doing that, exchanging information, getting the best of the best. What's the best way to do this, that and the other, right? And as a result, this is where the Mandela effect might be coming into play. Changes are actually being applied to this verse. And now I'm going to go to this. Do you remember? That's all, folks. You remember that, right? Oh, are you remembering that correctly? Now I've got you thinking, is it Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes? I will be honest, I remember it being called Looney Tunes. Yeah? Now then, Mandela effect. Tunes. I distinctly remember that being tunes myself. Said that a few years ago, can't remember specifically, there was a shift and everything was replaced. with, well, it said Tunes, 2 O's, eh? However, in deeper research, it makes sense why it's Looney Tunes, because they were all musical episodes. The first, you remember, hello my baby, hello my honey, but you remember all of them. It was music by merry melodies, yeah? So it does make sense to be Looney Tunes. However, I do remember it being Looney Tunes. And I'm not just tripping out either, because Tiny Toons is different, but it does say Tunes on Tiny Toons, yeah. Not Tunes, right? But if we look into this deeper, there is another phenomena. I have both versions, right, yeah. Because it does in fact say Looney Tunes in here. And there it is. Why would it say Looney Toontastic Fun? Why would it? Now this is the Pandora's box, because right here is a paradox within itself. How is that for the Nelson Mandela effect there? Looney Tunes and Looney Tunes, both on the official merchandise, right there. Why would it say Toontastic, not Tunetastic? There you go. I just thought I'd leave you to think about that for a minute. Because I'm not joking, yeah. But the past couple of weeks, this was up here where it normally is. And you know this place is haunted. You've seen the physical evidence, right? And I have mentioned things getting knocked over, but this lot kept falling over. But the one thing consistent was Looney Tunes kept coming out here. And in the past, God had done that with other things. This little screw was in the mirror, and he kept knocking it off the wall until I took that. And it stopped. This little eye I made by melting plastic. And what that was in kept getting flung off somewhere until I realised what it was needed for. And then it stopped because it was something else that was being flung, just knocking something little off the shelf. And then the big thing stopped being flung after I'd done that. So the same logic applied to that, really. And it was all because I ended up getting into the Nelson Mandela effect, and then it was the whole Looney Tunes. I think that's the reason why that kept getting flung off. Because the last time I picked it up, I did remember rattling it, and I thought the disc had come loose. It hadn't, it was that little brochure had come loose. So I put it back in, and I just put it back up. And then, like, Ahura had us think about that. Ahura was actually doing that as the Holy Spirit has pointed out, because I think I may have just caused a complete tear within the actual continuum itself, via the phone flash when I looked at the portal, I think. Yep. So yeah, I've got to think about that. How can I have two things at the same time? Nowhere else do they exist side by side. That is actually just someone doing a Photoshop of that. So that is legit. You've got to explain that. How can I have both?